Hello again, everybody. This is GrooveSim, and with another Let's Play. This time For Honor, open beta, started yesterday, goes through the 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I debated on starting it here in the tutorial area, but I decided to use this to reintroduce, For Honor. It's been a few days since the closed beta, so I needed to basically reintroduce myself to, the mechanics, the controls, and decided to crank up the tutorial. Not a lot of real good action in the beginning, but if you haven't seen any playthroughs or you're curious about the tutorial, then it's a chance to look at that. Yeah, For Honor. I mean, I like it. It's there are things to like about it. I should say. It has some interesting qualities and aspects to it. But then there are some other things I'm a little, I don't know, sketchy on, leery of. First off, the first and foremost concern I have is the fact that it is online only. It does have a campaign of sorts, a story mode or whatever. But you still have to be logged in. You have to be online to play. Now, I'm, I have internet. That's not a problem for me. But somehow, well, if it wasn't a problem, I wouldn't say it's a problem, right? I don't like the fact that you need to be online to play single player, or I guess it's single player if you choose. You can go in co-op. I think it'll be up to 4-player co-op. I'm gonna have to double check that, but right now all that's available in the beta is what you're seeing now. The training and practice and multiplayer, which consists of 1v1 duel, 2v2 brawl, and dominion. And the big selling point for the game, is in its the big persistent world mode, where you pick a faction, knights, samurai, Vikings, and you pledge allegiance to a faction. Then you go out and you fight for your faction, and at different locations throughout the world map, and it's persistence. So when you do take on a match representing your faction, you truly are representing, and whatever you do has bearing on whether or not your faction gains some ground or loses ground or whatever. Which is, an interesting take. It really is, and I think a lot of people will be drawn to that. And of course, like I said, there are the multiplayer modes, which two of those modes are basically deathmatch. You have 1v1, it's you against one other player or bot, if you choose. And then there's 2v2 brawl, which can get interesting. Just gauging by some of the playthroughs I've seen, You know, there are different tactics you can employ. Like you're actually going up against one other opponent to start the match, and your teammate is on another part of the map facing off against the other enemy or other opponent. And one of the tactics is to break off from your fight, disengage, and then haul butt to where your teammate is, gang up on whoever he's fighting, try to take them out quickly, swiftly, and then it's 2v1 on the other guy. And that's a common tactic, though. So, you know, the other one is just stay in a fight, take your guy out as quickly as you can, run, and help your teammate. So that was a tutorial, and now we're going into a custom match, and this is pretty ugly. What you saw me doing, and I you know what, I meant to explain why I put that in there. Parries and defending against more than one opponent, the blocks and all that, the guard blocks, are something I'm having a bit of difficulty with in the timing. So that's why you saw me in that. I had actually concluded both of those, and, well, the one anyway, the parry. I have a hell of a time, and I know that's going to be an important one for me to master. I could do the standard guard block okay, but you got to be able to do more than that to get anywhere, to have any success. So now I'm going up against bots and custom match. And I got to tell you, it's ugly. But I also got to tell you, I'm going in with a focus in mind. I want to use my parries, and you have to use the heavy attack or the right trigger on the Xbox One to block their attack. And it takes timing, and once you do that, they stagger a little bit, and then you can follow through with a light or heavy attack or whatever. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm not even trying to block standard guard block right now. I'm trying to get the parry down, and I'm getting destroyed. I'm not getting any timing down at all at this point. And they're stringing some hits together. They're stringing some moves together that, you know, their moveset, they use a little bit more in the custom match than in practice mode. So, they're stringing together some hits, and they're basically landing every damn one of them, because I'm having a hell of a time with the parry and the counters, you know, on my timing. So I decided to show you this, to show you the difficulty I'm having, because I know I'm going to progress. So I can tell you that I do start progressing at some point, and you know, you get a little better. You know, right now I'd have to rate my skill as no skill, and my talent level as piss poor. And this is not a jump in and play game. I've said that before. In order to be competitive, in order to really master the movesets for each and every character, because they each have their own movesets and feats, it takes time, man. It takes like constant repetition, and early on a lot of dying for me. And I really think that's for most people. I think there are a few that, you know, they'll jump in and have a little bit easier time. They'll progress quicker than I'm progressing, and maybe a lot of other people would progress, but it is what it is, man. I mean, you know, I don't mind showing you me getting humiliated by bots, you know, because I know it's not going to be like this forever. If I thought that's the case, that I could get beyond this point, I'd move on, man. I would do something else. It would be this. Because I'm competitive, believe it or not. I'm very competitive at heart. I do rage on occasion, and that's why I don't post edit commentary. You know, it makes me seem like I'm calm and cool, you know. If you were listening to me as I'm playing, you would definitely hear some complaining. And I'm just getting destroyed here. I'm using all the moves, or the parry, not all the moves. I'm trying to parry and counter and all that. It just isn't working, man. And I realize that, and I don't show you, but I actually go back in, or do I show you? You know what? I think I screwed up. I actually meant to include a match I won in this recording, and I think somehow I ended up messing that up. And if that's the case, guess what? I have to redo this. Anywho, I just now noticed that, like, this is almost over with, this segment, and we jump into the next one. Anyway, what do I do here? Is this practice or custom? I think I'm going into if I'm going into a custom match, then good. But actually, I meant to show you some, or do I? I meant to show you some time I spent against a bot in going back into practice mode, 1v1. And I start getting it. I start getting it towards, well, about a third of the way. I spent a lot of time with that bot. I was probably in practice mode after getting just destroyed in custom. I spent probably at least a half hour or so, and just repetition, just figuring things out, and I actually finally got some things figured out. I meant to include that. I don't know why I didn't. I thought I had. But whatever the case, it doesn't matter. I mean, this video is long enough and you see enough to get a basic gist of what I'm trying to accomplish here. So this is another custom match, and I'm using my warden, my knight warden, and you know, he's fairly well balanced. You know, he's fairly straightforward and simple moveset. He's a good one to start out with, you know, if you're just learning all the different controls and the mechanics. And, you know, he's definitely a good one to start out with. And what I'm employing here is what I wanted to show you, and I didn't include it. I thought I had, but maybe the next video. Is I started realizing, you know, some of the moves. I started getting them, you know, like some counters and the guy. I pushed him off there, but I didn't want to do that. I actually didn't want to do that. I ended up doing that twice in this match, and I don't want to do it. It's just where we end up. And one of my favorite moves with this guy, though, I learned, was doing a guard block. Follow that with a couple quick light attacks, and then follow those with the heavy. And there's a name for that move set. There's a name for that move, and I think it's the Warden's Revenge, or Warden's... shoot. all these different moves have names, and I'm sorry, I can't think of what it's called, but you'll see it. And there's a variation of that where it's a light, heavy, light, or you can even mix it up, do two heavies and a light. But it's right after a guard attack, and you see, I win. I beat this. I win this guy. I beat this guy in the first round. And there's me attempting a. Or no, that was the second round. I'm sorry. I gotta pay attention. Anyway. And that was what I used, you know. But I gotta be able to string together moves, and right now the moves I string together are basic. They're, you know, I guess the human player who's decent, you know, they'll definitely catch on and make me pay. But I'm definitely making progress. That's for sure. And in this one, it doesn't go too well. I didn't like being like stuck in this corner. I should have moved to a different area because there wasn't enough room to maneuver there, and for what I wanted to do. So he wins round 3. So it's 2-1. And I had to understand what his attacks were, and once I started doing that, I started countering better and doing the guard block and the push off, and follow that with some attacks, and sometimes I'm better. I'm not effective. I'm not consistent. You know, is what I'm saying, and that just takes a lot of practice and repetition. Yeah, and I knocked him off there, and I didn't want to. Yeah, it's just not what I was hoping for. Anyway, that's how the last match ends, and I wanted to get something up, so I decided to stop and go ahead and edit this and record at the same time. And I want to see if this is going to work out with the recording. Anyway, that's more For Honor in the open beta. Hope you all enjoyed it. And on a positive note, always, and stay groovy. Thanks for watching.